So if we look at this, the compensation percentage of some firms, then you would see how people are valued. Because when you talk about compensation, and compensation for owners of the business is maybe, and yes, the law firm for many years has been, it was a very profitable, is a very profitable business because your inventories are low anyway. You are not spending huge amounts on raw materials. People are in the center of it. You know, so when I talk about compensation and the definition of business, everybody is involved in it. Everybody is involved in both the compensation for the owners of the business, or if owners is, you know, relative, because we are trying to create an ownership mentality right to the tea lady. And the tea lady is very important because the tea lady can disrupt the entire firm. All he needs to do is put a little thing in your tea. Then you will know that they're important, right? So when we talk about compensation, it has to go through. If it is profitable for partners who are taking 50% off the top, it has to be profitable for me. It has to go through. So I would ask a question. What is different about, are we in slide 2 or 3? Okay, still on definition of terms. So income, expenditure, and expenditure profits. For the business, there is income, expenditure, profit. For me as an individual, and thank you, Chichi, we need to bring the humanity back to the workplace. For me as an individual, I'm not a liability, right? I am an asset to any firm, just as so I also need to look at the income, the expenditure, and whether it is profitable for me. So we need to look at compensation across the board. And exciting that your firm is doing that already. Next slide. Okay, so why is the current economy different? I would have loved to know. Why is it different?
Hello,
why all the noise about the current economy?
No wonder you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Someone was unmuted and we could hear their conversation. So please, could you ensure you're muted? Thank you. Go on, JJ.
Thank you. So why is the current economy different? We've had terrible depressions through history, even worse ones. You know, why is it different? What is the current economy? Yeah, GDP, inflation rate, unemployment rate, structural deficiencies, brain drain, post-COVID-19, but people are still the same, ladies and gentlemen. People are still the same. People still want the same things. So when we talk about creative compensation strategy, Mr. Alex Adedipe has dealt with it. The thing with being creative is that we need to think outside of the box. And you may not be given permission to think outside of the box, but we need to constantly encourage ourselves to think outside of the box and present it before the management or before the leaders of the firm. Creativity cannot be overregulated, because when we talk about creative strategies, it has to be free thinking, what works for my people. So instead of doing group think, I say this thing where everybody is sending, oh, what are they paying in your law firm? Oh, what are they paying in your law firm? Oh, and that's because we don't want to lose people to another law firm. But the good thing is that if you understand your people, you know, the issues of compensation will become a bit different, because what works for me might not work for another law firm. Let's run. Thank you. Okay, income and expenditure conundrum. What is a law firm? A group of people working together to deliver legal services for profit, and the profit has to go through the ranks. Increase of wealth for all stakeholders, all of us. And it's a professional service that must be taken to the market. Therefore, it is subject to the market forces of supply and demand. Purchasing of talent, selling of solutions. Margins. I've always talked about, you know, margin management. And for law firms for many years, we don't look at the margins, you know. And let me explain margins. And that goes to talking about data and David Meister said, a law firm simply is buying talent and selling solution. So what is the margin in between? Law firms don't look at margins because our margins have been great for many years, and that's the truth. And the beauty of it, because Mr. Adedipe talked about openness, I can sit here and know, what Wactel, what their books was last year. I can sit here and tell you what their PPP is, their profit per partner. It's clear and it is open, So margins, if you look at, for instance, a supermarket, margins are very important to them because they buy this product at £1. And they know that they must sell it at 2 to be able to make 1 kobo. But it's all blood in the law firm. It's so blood that, you're working in a law firm and you are thinking that, people are doing you a favor because you cannot even understand the margins. What is my contribution to the bottom line? And that, again, it's very difficult to measure. It will definitely fall back to us as professionals to measure those margins, and it requires that we look at data. Mr. Adedipe talked about this. Only a well-run business can be an efficient professional firm. We've settled the fact that law firms are professional firms. Let's talk about business now. Let's talk about business for everyone. What is the supply like? What is the demand like? Why are we all running after the same kind of work? I think it was Mr. Ibogan a couple of years ago that talked about market segmentation. Lawyers are just going one direction. If it's not capital market, it's something else. If it's not something else, new products. How are new products discovered? How those new commodities, how do they come into the market? Mr. Adedipe has told us something, that it is connected to the economy in which we are. But I want to challenge us that beyond the economy and us sitting down and hoping that the economy will increase, there are other, the economy of India, for instance, was pushed and developed by mid-level people, SMEs. How many of us are, I heard this today with Mr. Adedipe saying that, which is key. How many of us are supporting SMEs? Where are the creativities coming from? How are we piercing open the industry? I have a friend, I think in Singapore, that always talks about accessibility being the bane of the law firm. If you tell me that, oh, it's a crowded market, he will tell you that, look, the issue is that 96% do not have access to legal solutions of your economy, because law seems to be for, the big and mighty. So if we're looking at numbers, are there other, I was told about some new youth copper that was posted to somewhere in the north. One didn't want to go, eventually went, but started a law firm that it was all about how bring yams and the produce from the farm, and how he created a product with international, globally. Just stayed, he didn't go. After youth service, he stayed there because he came up with a legal product that was beyond just all of us running to Lagos, which is great because that's where the big money is. So again, it's the numbers. Next slide. I really do need to run. So this is the definition of a law firm. And I'm going to talk about the conundrum, how we're going to be able to navigate this conundrum. We have to put the business people in the right seats. The business people need to sit properly in the right seats. And Mr. Adedipe, you are amazing, but you would agree with me that lawyers ordinarily, and we would see it in the slides, in terms of the business perspective, lawyers sometimes are very risk adverse. So, and lawyers, the way they are trained, no offense, very, very driven by precedents. Very driven by precedents. So, thinking out of the box is always a struggle. And that is one of the ways to navigate the conundrum. So that is the definition. No law firm can successfully meet the challenges or deal with the conundrum, the challenges of recession and a challenging professional landscape. Google and what's the one on the market? There's a Google law I hear. What was the biggest marketplace virtually? I can't remember their name, that where we all buy things from. There is definitely, they have a law arm now where they sell intellectual property, monetize, very cheap, so the landscape is getting very, very challenging. So without the help of staff leaders who possess the multidisciplinary skills that the new professional dynamics of a law firm demands, this is really what would ensure that we thrive. Everybody taking their seats properly and giving that space, to be creative. Let's go. I need to run now. So the part to navigating the conundrum. Really glad that Mr. Adedipe has said it all. The key to running a firm lies in the successful management of two key assets. David Meister said it: client relationships and the inventory of skills, which is talent and knowledge. Because we are now in a talent economy. We are now in what you would call, it's a talent economy. Is a knowledge economy, and that knowledge is residing in people. AI, great. I was just saying to one of my youths, I'm doing the entire day. I'm at a vacation Bible school the entire day. And I said, what are you downloading? He said ChatGPT. So I told him, it's great, but at your age, ChatGPT is going to destroy your creativity. Because all you do is, I want to write a poem on sunshine. You put it there, the poem comes out and you say it's yours. ChatGPT is the brainchild of somebody, so as much as it is good. So client relationship, how do we manage that? And how do we manage people? Because people, like Mr. Adedipe said, is in the center of this conundrum. They will be the one that will help us navigate, there would always be pandemics, there would always be recession. And that is the thing about economics. Economics strives on scarcity. If there is no scarcity, Adam Smith is the father of economics, and he will tell you there will always be scarcity. Mr. Adedipe was talking about adequate compensation. That word, what indeed is adequate? So let's go really quick. How do we take care of our clients? So people, let's talk about people. I will tell you, there is no stimulus like that which comes from the consciousness of knowing that others believe in us. Mr. Adedipe, you said it all when you talked about staff having a stake in a place. Having a stake in a place. You cannot navigate this conundrum. I'm talking to a couple of people who are very scared. They are scared that when they depart and they're in their 60s, 70s, that there's going to be a key to their law firm. It's going to be locked up, and there'll be a key, and they'll throw the key into the whatever, because there are no people to perpetuate the business. People are not vested in it. So Vusi Tembakwayo, a great guy, he tells you that talent goes where it is rewarded. And Mr. Adedipe, you're doing a great job. Talent will go where it is rewarded. You've heard him. He's just all over the place. That is why you take your green passport and there is a mass, depletion of knowledge, because talent goes where it is rewarded. Even in the law firms, a lot of people, I think you're exceptional in thinking, oh, okay, I will do practice. A lot of our young people, I have 2 children that read law. A lot of them want to go to fintech where they have lounges. And mom, they give me tickets, 3 meal tickets a day. It's taken care of. So we do need to be created. So if talent feel they have found home, a good place where they can grow and thrive, they nest. So whose job is it to create that nest? Yourself, myself, people. And Mr. Adedipe, you have said it. Where is that nest? Keep going so I can round up real quick. So when we talk about expenditure, I did a paper a while ago about expenditure and reining in expenditure. And what I find is that it is difficult. You need to be careful how you rein in expenditure, because we find that in some firms, there are pushing, income, which is somewhat limited, into expenses that are not human friendly, especially within their people. So what is your ROI? What's the return on your investment on those big sponsorships that you do? What is the return on investment when people who have worked with you for 10 years cannot even afford, to send their children to school? We need to think about it again. So expenditure is not a race to the bottom to cut it down. because there's some good expenditure. So good cost, bad cost. Bringing those who have been excluded. There are many people who have been excluded in this conundrum that we have to bring them in and ask them, oh, what do you think? How can we do this? So that we can have more creative ideas. Let's go. Changing the traditional model. So the traditional law firm model, Mr. Adedipe, you said it all. We cannot continue with the classic owner-partner law firm model because we are all human and we'll pass. So the classic owner-partner law firm, we cannot continue. We cannot also continue the hourly rate architecture, and like one of our friends of Alan said, the monitoring spirit mentality. People do only what they are monitored to do. If their hearts are engaged. I have a son who works for a fintech company and he tells me, I work 14 hours a day, mom, and I'm happy to. Because that 14 hours is well paid for. When I clock, after it's gone beyond 8, they start paying me every hour. And they are booking my holiday. So I have a bit of some questions for Mr. Adedipe, but I hope I get there. So we cannot continue saying that we are selling time. Time is sold as the essential commodity. It has to be more than time, And another thing about the short-term mentality, short-term profit maximization mentality that I've discovered in the law firm is that every year you just clear it all out, Yeah, and you're starting again at the next year. So we need to look long-term in terms of changing the traditional law firm model. We need to think globally and so on and so forth. And you see that horse, we are having to pull it because it is refusing to change. Let's go. Okay, so why do we need to change it? The cracks are everywhere. The profits are down, like Mr. Adedipe said. Partnership is being delayed. People are tired of waiting in the lounge. People are moving in droves out of practice, out of private practice. Less jobs are available. How many law firms can employ people? 6,000 lawyers are coming out of law firm. Where are they going into? Morale is low, generally. And generally the profession rates poorly. I stand to be corrected, and I wish I can have engagement, not just talking monologue, but yes, the professional rates poorly because a couple of years ago, just before COVID, IBA, they were having IBA, I think in Tokyo or wherever, and they ran a poll and said, how many of all you big lawyers would like for your children to come into legal practice? And the poll result was appalling because everybody was saying that, no, international firms are downsizing, clients cannot afford us anymore. So the need to retweak is there. Please, let's go. Let me see how I can round this up. And the truth of the matter is that you can contemplate these slide at your leisure. We need to understand the headwinds. We need to understand and how to fit into it, how to make our firm compatible with the times. And I salute Oracle because in, I think June 40, June 14th, Oracle, I'm trying to share that slide, but it's not allowing me. Sent something that I believe is the answer. I will read it. I'll read a bit of it. Next slide. So if some of the things to look at is innovation, time architecture must be modified. Clients become king and keep going. If client is king, the people are what? Queens. Your people are queens. There is no difference. Some people ask me, who do you put above? Is it clients or is it what do you call it? Is it people? Is it clients or people? There is no difference. If you treat your clients, if you treat your people the way you treat your clients, then it will be a better what do you call it? It will be a better profession. So is it the egg? They ask me, is it the chicken or the egg? That's not a very good question because the chicken is the egg, right? So we need to be client-centric, we need to be people-centric, and we need to be profit-centric. I so love the way Adeleke distinguished between income and profits, because a lot of law firms see income as profits. Some of us seated here are even absolutely amazing. There are so many law firms, you know, 2 men, 3 men law firms. They don't understand, you know, they are different. So we need to understand profit centricity. We need to understand margin management. We need to understand how to build reputation and the market you want to serve. I loved Wachtel so much because they are my best ever law firm. They do not serve all clients. And they have engaged, they have built reputation to the extent that they can reject clients. So what reputation do you want to build? We have to look at new delivery models, you know, for value-added services. And Mr. Adeleke said it all. I know a law firm that their IT people are bringing in income because they've been allowed to develop, you know, solutions. And the solutions they are selling across the industry. God bless the soul of Mr. Ganifawehimi, right? You know, so new service delivery, move to untapped market. I've talked about untapped market. I believe in market segmentation. It cannot be about Lagos alone. It cannot be about Abuja alone. Okay, so move on to untapped market. We've talked about commoditization. Let's go. Paths to navigating the conundrum, it's people. And yes, if we're talking about pricing, my issue with pricing is that I don't think that, you know, pricing may not become an issue, you know, at different levels, but we can look at that another time. So there are other ways apart from the hourly rates, the success fee, fees rate, contingency fee arrangement, volume discount, blended rates, you can look at them and you can create your own pricing style. Believe me, who invented money back guarantee? So you can create your own pricing style if you are close enough to your client. And there is survey that says that most lawyers are not close enough to their clients, because some clients started complaining that most of the solutions they get from clients, you know, a number of times is not tailored to their needs, because half the times we as lawyers do not listen enough and do not understand the intricacies of the challenges of our law firms, because we have set precedent results also for them. So we need to be better listeners. And in tweaking the client service of a law firm, I know that they were training lawyers on how to be more discerning, more mindful, more present in terms of dealing with their clients. So tighten the engagement process. We all know the story about what I said I did not say. So tighten the engagement process, develop detailed scoping. Lawyers that say, oh, you want me to do this? Okay, I will do it. No, okay, no problem. I'll tell my people to do it. You haven't scoped for that work. Let's keep going. Leadership commitments. We cannot navigate this conundrum without leadership commitments, you know, and I can't talk enough about leaders. And the beauty of it is this: change is inevitable. So if it would take a 40 years they were in the wilderness until all the people that didn't want change died in the wilderness, and they pushed into the new phase. So change is inevitable. Yeah, you either structure, restructure, or rupture. It might take it took COVID-19 to tell us, all of us, that you don't have to sit down in your firm and uncle is looking at you to make sure that you're sitting at that chair at 8:30 and make sure you leave at 6:30 without any life. So monitor data. Utilization rate is different from realization rate, and of course, different from collection rates. Let us understand the difference. Understand your profitability. I'm rounding up very quickly. I love this, and you can go and look at it. We need this. This is the McKinsey 7X model. And I love what's in the middle. What's in the middle is shared values. So do we have shared values? Am I in the center of my firm? Mr. Adedipe, thank you very much. You've spoken about it. So say all you want to say. Is my value, are my values, I'm concerned about my children. I'm at that place where my children matters to me. Is that a shared value in the firm? So if your value is, I don't care, I just need the job to be done, we cannot navigate this conundrum together. The center of structure, system, style, staff, skills, and strategy, whether it is hard S or soft S, whatever, the center of it is shared value. We need to align the values of that gate man. He will never leave you if you align his values, and his concerns with the value of the firm. Next slide. And you can investigate that further. Again, this is a slide from McKinsey. You can investigate it further. How do we move through the conundrum? How do we move from here to there? It is by changing behaviors in different ways. Let's keep going. I can't go through that. Okay. Why does it matter? Again, I would have loved at this point to get your feedback, but I may not be able to because of time. All this talk that we are talking, why does it matter? We need to think a bit deeper to understand it. Please, let's keep going. Okay. We need to look at what next steps are. Mr. Adedipe has said a number of things. People build institutions, be open, show your books to everybody. I mean, and it may not hurt you. You need to think about it, and I think that it is Oracle that was talking about communication. Please let me just read some of those things. We are in very tough times, especially in Nigeria. So if you don't communicate honestly with your people that, okay, X came in, 10 Naira came in, all the expenses was 9.9 Naira, 50 kobo. Guys, it is 50 Naira that is left. We need to be able to be open. I would pause there, but I would just ask the president of Alan, at some point, there are 2 books I want us to, maybe form like a book club. If we have 2-3 hours, read it and let us look at it. One of them is definitely, what's this book called? Aligning of Stars. One of them is this, and that is Managing the Professional Service Firm, David Meister. And we should do a review of. The other one is Aligning the Stars, how to succeed when professionals, like Alan, like lawyers, when professionals drive results. How do we succeed? It is very different from the industrial age, right? Yeah. So I would end up by asking a few questions, and maybe Mr. Adedipe would address some of that. I loved it when you talked about compensation and you were talking about, the non-cash compensation. You were talking about the equity-based compensation, and how do we look at reducing our cash compensation, that a lot is shaved off it, to enable people to take home more, looking at reimbursable expenses. The tax people really need to help us, because every ideas you bring up, they'll say, oh, that thing is taxable. Oh, it's still taxable. Oh, it's still taxable. So we need to be really creative. Would paying my children's school fees, if you pay me very much less, if you pay me much less and you deal with the school fees of that guy, of that woman that's been working for you, would that make a lot of difference when we talk about reimbursable? Would paying for my holiday make a difference? My childcare, like Mr. Adedipe said, lounges, taking care of my mental health, take up statutory obligation, taking care of my mental health, paying for my, self-care, all the massages, whatever it is that we need to do. We need to look at a lot of ways that we can bring people into the center of taking us out of this conundrum. Okay, so I think that I'll pause here and I'll just take questions. Thank you very much again, Alan. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Harrison Abiola. Thank you so much. I have one question before I throw it open to everyone else. I think in the past, let me say 2 to 3 years, we've seen an increase and a demand for higher compensation, right? And we're also aware that a lot of businesses have been shutting down, especially post-COVID. Some people are struggling. I mean, we heard in the news GSK is leaving. So what would you say are some of the factors or things that are pushing this demand for higher compensation, and what's driving it apart from inflation and all the other things that's happening? Because this inflation and especially this whole petrol subsidy removal was recent this year. But like I said, it's about 2 to 3 years ago, maybe even 4, where this demand for higher compensation has come in. What would you say are some of the things that are pushing that?
Chichi, we're all humans. What is pushing it is cost of living. What is pushing it is value for yourself. Understanding that you're contributing to the bottom line. It will push. It's a talent economy. We need to wake up and understand that you can't be paying people the way you paid the industrial age, where they were pushing things down the line. This is people. They are pushed with, they want to live in Banana Island. They have aspirations. They want the best for their lives, and they're entitled to it. So show me how to be that. So don't tell me, what are they doing? It is just, I think it's a big issue when people say, what are these support staff doing? That's a big insult. Because people are becoming more self-aware. And that would force you, my colleagues, to increase your capital. Yeah. Because you're deserving of the best. Some of the people that run some of these big law firms are not even, they're not legal. They don't have, some of them don't have law degrees. Yeah. So wherever anybody is sitting, you are human. You can aspire to be the best. And like I said, Vusi said, talent will go where it is rewarded. So there will be a push, just like the partners are also pushing for more compensation. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much. We'll open up to everyone now. If there's any questions, you can either put it in the chat box, or please, you can unmute yourself to speak. Okay. Oh, does anyone have anything to add?
There's a hand up. There's a hand up.
Okay.
Rebecca.
Okay. Rebecca, please go ahead.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much, Chichi. Thank you, Mrs. GHA. I just wanted to contribute to that, or just a bit of my experience. I remember a law firm where I worked. I was in that situation where someone had says, "Oh, what are you doing?" Like, I was like, okay, what am I doing? Why did you employ me in the first place if you don't know what I am doing or why I am in that position? And I think in a way, because of the lawyer and support disparity, some lawyers don't even understand what our roles are, how we're contributing to the bottom line. And it's a thing that it's something that we need to we've been addressing it. I'm sure in the long run, we're going to get there. And I remember it's a situation where we had to bring someone in to it was like a retreat. And the person, after interviews and all that, was like, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to interchange our roles. So you have a lawyer sit at the reception, for instance, sit there, see what she does, see if you're capable of doing it. You sit in a position, if she's the banking and finance team, see what they do. So you guys can actually understand your role and get to respect each other's responsibility. So also that comes down to you understanding your value in the long run, trying to bid for a higher pay, a better compensation. And it speaks much on what is happening now, where we're all fighting to survive. We need to, I see this person driving a Benz. When am I going to get there? How do I get there? How do I achieve that? Aside your personal development, you making sure that you're acquiring the necessary qualifications and knowledge as well. You also need to understand your value and how to stick, for it. So I am so grateful for Mr. Adeleke. He actually said so much, and I was in my spirit. I was so happy. I was like, oh God, what is happening here? When are we going to start practicing this across firm? And seeing how we can all benefit. It's going to ease our burden. Trust me. And the thing is, we're not even sure if the economy is going to get better in the next couple of weeks, in the next couple of years, because we can only see a downstream, like it keeps getting worse in a way. But then our standard of living, as JHA says, is increasing. We need to still stay afloat. We need to still survive. We have families, we have responsibilities. So I am so happy for this session, and I am so looking forward to implementations across a firm. I'm so excited for the new happenings that is going to come out as a result of this session. So thank you so much to Mr. Adeleke. Thank you so much, JHA, and I'm super grateful for being in attendance.
Thank you, Rebecca. I think we have someone else. Can you call? You can speak.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. My question is linked to a comment Mr. Adeleke gave or made concerning having the right staff. I don't know, but I think that recruitment has become more and more of a challenge. And I'm just wondering, it's one thing to retain staff, but it's another thing to even have the right staff. What is going on with regard to recruitment these days? How can one, if you have the right compensation, you have the right policies and so on, that can retain staff, how do you even get the staff? I don't know if other firms are having these challenges, but it's a question I would like to be addressed. Thank you.
Okay, does anyone want to give a comment to that?
I thought that was addressed to Mr. Adeleke, or it's open to everyone.
It's open to everyone, please.
Oh, I see what you mean. Okay, all right. Okay, I mean, no one seems to want to bail the cat. In my opinion, right? I believe that there are some things that they are just the reality. It's what we face. Labor market seems sparse with talents. We have a lot of things affecting this. There's the Jaguar syndrome, and then there's the competition now for law firms, which is no more law firm competing with law firm. We have other industries competing with us. You have investment firms, you have fintechs, what's it called now? I don't want to use the word taking, but our lawyers are attracted by these people. So despite having all of these compensation strategies in place, you have the equity option, you have these non-cash benefits, you have perks, you have all of this in place. The reality remains that, it's still tough out there. But then again, I think one of the things I'm taking away from here is you have to constantly think outside the box. What is your employee value proposition, for example? What can make you attractive? And then you see the work that we don't want to do to build people, but we just want people who are already built. We may have to do it. A lot of people like to hire ready-made lawyers who are 100%. But the fact remains that nowadays the 100% are gone to fintechs, they are gone to investment companies, they are gone outside the country, they are all in Canada. So you might have to look to organic growth. That's one option. And then you may also have to look to planning a structure where when you hire people who may not be 100%, but perhaps they're 50, they're 60, they're 70, have a structure in place where you build them up. Of course, you can tell me there is also the risk of them leaving no matter what you do. But you know what? It is what it is. So let's use ourselves, as I like to tell my people. They want to use us to step up. We also use them for the period we have. So have in your mind, train people, 2 years, they will leave. They probably will leave, you know, and if you get lucky, some will stay, you know. It's what it is. So be creative, constantly think outside the box on how you can attract these people and look beyond where you were looking before. Maybe perhaps you are headhunting from big law firms. Look beyond big law firms. Look to in-house counsel. Look to people who probably are just tired of being in a place and they just want to change. Or maybe again, you want to look at your what is it called now? You want to look at your offerings, you know, as a firm. If you weren't offering work from home, you want to explore that option. You know, just think generally how you can just make it work. That would be my 2 cents on that matter. Thank you.
Okay, so if I may very quickly also, thank you so much, Odun. Absolutely. So we have 6,000 lawyers coming out of law firms, legal law school. And maybe 10–15% of them find law firms that they can, you know, truly work. I would want to think really that maybe we should not look from the perspective of scarceness, but really training properly. And law firms becoming involved even from the law school with these talents, you know. So we can plan our human resources or our people plan with attrition in mind. Arthur Anderson, oh my God, daughter was asking what was Arthur Anderson because he didn't remember that. All those, the big fours, you know, they always have high turnover, but these people give them, we heard that 2–3 ALS ago, they have fantastic work experience that all the alumni, they are always proud to say, I was here, I was there. You know, so people coming to your firm, give them great experience. Don't say my culture is this, my culture. Your culture is what people say it is. It's not what you say it's not what's on the wall. Culture is experiences that people get every day they come in and out of your firm. What are the experiences? So you can say my culture is family. Oh, we are a very family-friendly culture. Do people feel that? Culture is a living thing. It's not what is historical or is not the paper on the wall. It is the experiences that people feel. So if we understand what is happening globally, and Nigeria, in some of these countries, there is huge focus on us for talent. There's so much talent going out of here, even with our educational system. So the onus will then be on all our seniors in more mentoring. I'm reading the book, I haven't finished it. I talked about how poorly mentoring is in the legal profession. Mid-level people are not interested on, on building people from the down up. So populate people, it would be good if we can populate our law firms with foot soldiers and give the time to train them over time, and they will become loyalists. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Do we have any other questions? I think we may be short with time.
Good afternoon, all. Can I make a contribution to Nico's question? Yeah, good afternoon, Mr. Deleke, our own Joy Harrison, and Chinyelu. This is Oracle, a member of ALAM. I just want to, like my president, Odun said, her own 2 pence on how do you retain people, even after paying the right fees, and all that. I think our problem in Nigeria generally is that we always forget where we are coming from, so we don't know where we are going to, and we just beat around the bush trying to survive. Let me say from my own perspective, my own point of view. If some of us remember, we know in the 70s or 80s, where we see our fathers or mother building mansions and all this and all that. I don't think any of us are living in those buildings today. I don't even think any of us want to live in those environments. In fact, I don't think any of us want anything to do with those buildings, because why? There are areas, 1,000,001 areas where we can go to, no matter how small, but that's where we want to go and we want to move. On the other hand, I don't know how many of us, of course, we generally hear portfolio managers, but it's actually a compound name. In an institution, in a firm, you have portfolio manager for different things, but there's also this portfolio managers that people who they only have their portfolio, they do not have structural or physical offices. Mr. Adeleke, I come to his firm, I say, sir, you're my friend, please give me one room. I come with my portfolio. Today I do my business. I'm going in the evening, I pick up my portfolio, I'm going. I have cleared probably 50 million naira deal while his structure, his building, everything is there. But that day, the whole firm might not have even made up to 20 million. But the funny thing about it is that nothing affects me. The day I go there, he does not have electricity, I pick my portfolio, I move somewhere else. The day I go there and his firm has collapsed or anything, the effect on me is minimal. Where am I going to? I'm going to the fact that COVID actually accelerated the dynamism in the employment market and our thinking faculty. Nobody, and I'm sorry, let me just throw it, but that's the fact. That goes back to those, our fathers and mothers, great mansions. Nobody cares about how beautiful your office is, that aesthetics and all that. We have young and dynamic youths who want to be on the move. Hello, if I tell you I'm migrating to Canada and you give me an offer that, look, Oracle, you're migrating to Canada, we love the work you're doing there. Can you be doing for us there? No problem. We sign a contract, I move. I'm in Canada, I'm giving you value. The day I don't want to work, I don't want to work. So no matter what you are paying me in Nigeria here, if I do not want to stay, I do not want to stay. It's as simple and basic as that. Even if Nigerian economy was not this bad, whether we like it or not, I don't know if we realize that people are even migrating from even Britain to other places. The migration is on, the dynamism is so much. So I think what the law firms should use those where we are coming from, that history to do, is start re-engineering their contract terms, re-engineering the mentality of hiring, re-engineering their environment so that any lawyer, anybody coming in feels a bit free and say, look, I'm here to give you my best for the time period I can. When I'm leaving, I do not want any hindrances. I do not want any encumbrances. Do not throw up anything. In fact, from that day one, when you presented that, look, we are fluid, we are flowing. All we want is the best from you, and we'll give you the best we have. Whatever little time we have, but when you make it that it must be static, it must be so and so and so. I'm looking on the road out because I can't have you mortgaging the next 5-10 years of me when I could be doing I could even move from law to IT. Just like Mr. Adeleke said, these are practical things. He had talked in his lecture, he talked about dressing. It's not the dressing that brings out this stuff in you. So let's law firms, for me, try to be flexible and let them look at the future and see the reality on ground, and nobody is staying. Even partners are not staying, whether we like it or not. So it's not a question of come and take 1 million and stay. I take 1 million, 2 months, 3 months. What you don't know is that when I close, I go out, I meet other things. I can even go to somewhere where I'm receiving 500,000, but I'm happy, I'm more flexible. I wake up when I like, and I go to work when I like, and I receive instructions and decide which brief do I want to work on or which one do I not want to work on. So I think there's a problem with restructuring of that engagement terms and processes. These are my little contribution to this matter. I think we need to look at